What's going on, everybody? 5 years since I quit alcohol, 5 years sober, coming up on 5 years, no cigarettes, and it has been great. And I'm just going to share some thoughts on it with you about myself and the paintbrush company and the hobby in general. First off, I get like a lot of people say they can't quit things or whatever. And for me, the one thing I struggle with is these Monster energy drinks. I think the longest I've gone without caffeine is 10 months, but I always like relapse. I don't know if that's the right word. It might be a little too extreme for caffeine, but the relapse for caffeine, specifically the regular Monster, is happened to me many, many times over the 5 years. I generally do try to quit caffeine for quite a while, and honestly, I feel much better when I don't drink it. So it's kind of interesting that I always fall back on it, but I have never had another drink of alcohol outside of maybe like NyQuil when I was sick, and I haven't had a cigarette in almost 5 years. So it's pretty exciting. The Some of the benefits I want to share with you. The first 2 years, as my life started coming back together, um, I saved a lot of money. You'd be surprised if you're a drinker or a partier, you'll save a ton of money. And it's not just the money you would have spent on alcohol, it's all the activities that cost so much more with alcohol, including like going out to eat, going to a concert, even like they have bars and movie theaters now. So like if you just say went to a movie for $10 or $14 and bought $20 worth of alcohol in the movie, well now your movie's $30, right? It adds up so fast, uh, and you save tons of money. It's really pretty crazy. So the first 2 years, I saved a ton of money, and I launched my paintbrush company 3 years ago on Kickstarter. I sell the Ghost paintbrushes. We're in like 50 different countries. Uh, we've had three successful Kickstarters, thousands of backers every time. It's been truly amazing, life changing for me because now I work for myself, and it's very exciting to get to have an opportunity to donate art supplies to schools and charities and children's hospitals. And also, we just all get to paint miniatures together, which is why we're in the hobby in the first place, as far as if you come in it from more of a painting standpoint. Lately, I have been very, very happy with my painting, which might be weird to say because a lot of people generally speak down on their own artwork, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the sober brain kicking in, but maybe it's the Lexapro. But it has been wonderful. I've been so happy painting my little miniatures, my armies, my models, things to sell, things for other people, and the progress I feel like's been great. The obvious thing is with 5 years, of course, you should be better. But right now, I'm painting, I feel like, to a pretty high level for myself. And I'm kind of working on painting faster just to cut through some of the backlog, per se, or, treat some of this like a lot of this. I just want it to look good for me. And so I could play some games with some cool looking armies. Lately, we have been into one page rules. So you can the game functions very well at high point, so we're trying to make some big armies, and I'm trying to make some cool stuff for you on the table. Um, Another thing with saving all the money and just, I don't know, the clarity, mental clarity, which is funny as I struggle to get these sentences out. I've become much more aware of what I spend my money on. So Games Workshop is less and less appealing to me as I feel like I can see the money grabs a little easier, or maybe I'm a little more offended by the money grabs that they're seemingly, maybe I'm wrong, this is an opinion, they seemingly are selling a luxury product with no luxury quality control, no playtesting that's of any real value, no editing of books that's of any real value. The only thing they're still doing great, obviously, is the models, but it's hard to give them money. Like I saw in another video, I did buy the Christmas Battle Force here for the Slanesh, but I had a 20% off card, and so that one was a good deal. But besides like starter sets and Christmas Battle Forces, there's pretty much no deals to be had in that company. So you can see behind me, I got the 3D printer going. It's the Mars 2 Pro. I have printed probably 400 miniatures already in 2 months. I got it in November, maybe a month and a half. It's incredible. You're getting models like, this is just something I have on hand, but a little cannon for One Page Rules Fantasy. Working on that. A little mortar. One Page Rules Fantasy. What are those costing me? 70 cents each. Pretty incredibly cheap. Little barbarian here. He was included in my subscription to my Mini Factory and a couple others. And, he's like 50 cents to print or whatever. It takes some time, but I'm running that thing 24 hours a day. Let me show you another big boy. This is a big one that I'm working on. You'll see all pictures of these on my Instagram, but this thing is awesome. It probably cost $5. Like, you can't tell me that that's not high quality Chaos miniature right there. Thing's incredible. And look, there's still some flexibility in the resin if you mix in some of the Tenacious Ceratec resin to give it a little flexy. So it's not as fragile. They're a little fragile. Definitely more fragile than plastic, but if I'm paying like $5 for a giant, and even if it's 10, Games Workshop right now is charging 60 to 110 for something that size. 140 maybe in some cases. It's insanity. Then they're not playtesting their rules, so there's really no value model to game system. The games are really, really bad right now. Sigmar and 40K are awful. So that's where my brain's at, being sober 5 years. And it's been pretty fun. I've definitely got more into the hobby the farther I've gotten from alcohol. I'm much more into the painting side than I've ever been, which is exciting for me because I always wanted to be a painter. In growing up, I wanted to be an oil painter. And even though I'm not oil painting incredible canvases that are going to be in a museum or whatever, I am painting a lot. And a lot more painting has gone on in my life in the last 5 years and the last maybe I've been back since I moved back from Vegas and started getting back into the hobby. Basically right around when Age of Sigmar 1 came out is when I got back. So just been really doing artistic things for a long time now, since the beginning of Age of Sigmar 1, because I had a long break of partying when I lived in Vegas and whatnot. So it's very exciting to be back in the element of like paints and smelling paints and moving paints around, including, mixing colors on the wet palette or slapping paint on little cannons or demons or whatever, busts and things, traveling to little conventions like Adepticon and the LVO, and, things that have just been all around very fun. As far as, I'm not a professional artist per se, but I do make money from my art, and I'm in the art supply space because I have a paintbrush company. So it's really more than I ever... It's kind of like a childhood dream. It's like every time I sell a painted model on eBay, to me, that's like selling a part of my childhood dream of being a professional painter, getting paid for my artwork. So that's very exciting to me. I love it. And all around, it's just been good because being in that space, talking to painters, talking to artists, being in a community of that, even though, like I said, it's not the oil painting that I thought it was going to be, it's still painting, and everybody... One thing that's very interesting, actually, about miniature painting is it brings a lot of artists or people exploring art into it that wouldn't necessarily have bought a canvas and talked about it with their friends at the local whatever. But with miniature painting, a lot of people that had no previous real interest in painting do paint models, and they like talking about it or are interested in asking for tips or whatever. And that's kind of fun. It's like a big pool with a big range of skill cap, and a lot of people just enjoying painting miniatures. They're sort of like adult coloring books in a way, because you don't have to draw. There's no real proportions that you have to worry about. You're sort of just worried about volume, color theory, painting within the lines sort of thing. And values, of course, is probably the most important. But so that's been wonderful. Today's Christmas Day, 2021. We made it. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the channel. I still don't know how to edit a video, so these are always done in one takes, and I hope you enjoy that somewhat. Please subscribe, like the video, share it if you have somebody struggling with alcohol. Things are pretty good, and they're a lot better than I ever thought they would be. I've saved a ton of money, and the stress levels ultimately low. I've lost 0 days to hangovers. I've injured myself mysteriously during a blackout 0 times. I visited doctors for broken collarbones 0 times. Things like that, Things that are just generally better. So, Merry Christmas to you. And I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed this.